Welcome back, little Rhody listeners. This is podcast, I think, number 11. Who knows at this point? We've done a bunch, but you get the point. This week, we're going to talk about a couple different things. We did a poll on our Instagram page, actually, asking you guys if you wanted to keep doing the gameplay, like the gameplay podcasts, or the face-to-face one. We're still going to continue doing both, but apparently a lot of people like the gameplay, so we're going to keep going with that. We're going to keep asking, but we're going to roll with this. But this week we're going to talk about the Clippers. We're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard free agency. We're going to do a hypothetical thing between Josh and I, where we pick 3 players or 2 players to start our franchise with in the NBA, but they have to be under 25, because realistically, you're not really starting a franchise with anybody over like 30, so. And then our way too early top 25 college predictions for next year. But we're just kind of going to look at like some preseason picks that way too early from other college experts that have put it out. So now that we've said what we're going to talk about, we're going to give you a quick word from our sponsor.
Anthony's Jewelers presents Rhode Island's biggest diamond, wedding band, and gold chain sale ever. Interested in buying a diamond at 60% off, a wedding band at 50% off, or gold chains at 65% off? Round diamonds, princess cut, and oval diamonds are being shipped at 60% off for this sale only. Go to anthonysjewelers.com to make an appointment or call 401-996-2100. Rhode Island's biggest diamond, wedding band, and gold chain sale ever. Now going on. Anthony's Jewelers, North Providence, where Rhode Island gets engaged.
So you guys already know what to do, so hopefully you guys go and reference us. But we'll let Josh start off on our topics today, because he was the one that brought up actually the Clippers and Kawhi. So we'll let you start off on your just initial thoughts. We'll start off with the Clippers. The Clippers.
Well, firstly, welcome back, everybody. It's nice to have our good crowd of consistent listeners. We appreciate you all. And this is host Josh speaking. So yeah, let's get into Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Are they real contenders is the question. Personally, I think they can, things will have to go their way in the playoffs, but I can personally see them making a good playoff run to get there. They do have a good team overall. They're ranking well. Like they're third right now in offensive efficiency, outscoring teams by almost 7 points per game. They're ranked third in that aspect. And Kawhi Leonard, he is an MVP candidate within himself. So that kind of right there, you have a star, you have a good overall team, so I don't see why not. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I think, you have a nice duo between Paul George and Kawhi, which is kind of how
we just don't need Pandemic P. Pandemic P cannot show up again.
This year, Paul George has been pretty good, and in recent games,
he has been really good.
I've been seeing in the past 5-6 games now. I mean, this is April, but we're getting into the time of the year where you need to start being good. So if he can hit a nice little stride, I mean, he was averaging about 30 points per game, I think, in his last couple. So, my thing is on the Clippers is, I think, are they a contender? Yes, I think they're one of the top 5 or 6 teams that you would pick to win. My thing is...
Yeah, I think that's a comfortable place to put them at. Top 5 or 6.
My thing is, it's like last year with the Lakers. The Lakers won, and partly because they found a good third, playoff player. So other than LeBron and Anthony Davis, their third guy, especially in the finals, was Rondo. Rondo was
I was
third
just
guy.
Rondo too.
And if anybody doesn't know, the Clippers picked up Rondo for Lou Williams at the trade deadline. I know people are kind of sad to see Lou Williams leave, but he's not as good as everybody thinks anymore, if we're just being honest. And I think that trade is the reason why they're going to win the championship this year. If they are going to win. I'm not saying they are.
That'd be crazy if that happens.
I know that came off weird, but if they do win, I think Rondo's going to be a main piece, because he realizes that he will be the 7th option on this team scoring. They got Kennard, they got Kawhi, they got Serge Ibaka.
He's not even going to take any shots, Yeah,
Paul George. They got a bunch of
facilitate and play defense.
Yeah,
do whatever he can, make winning plays.
They get a bunch of shooters. They get a bunch of, especially young guys, even like Terrence Mann, I think, comes off their bench, who's been playing some minutes. So he
Yeah, he's a
realizes what
stud
he
at
needs to
Florida
do,
State.
and I think the Clippers are very desperate for point guard play at this point, and I know
Yeah,
he
I
just
mean,
got
I don't
there.
think Patrick Beverly and Reggie Jackson can cut it. I think Rondo's a huge addition there. I agree with that.
Yep, and the one thing as well that people aren't realizing is that they did have Doc Rivers last year, but their coaching um, didn't take a step back because they signed I know his name. I can't think of his name right now. The guy who
Oh,
was
I can't
coaching
think
Cleveland,
either.
Ty Lue.
Yeah, Tylo. Yeah,
They
I don't know.
signed
I was
Ty
drawing a
Lue.
blank on that too.
Yeah, for some I
Right.
don't know why, but
He gives a lot of
Ty
freedom to players too, which I like and I respect. And it seems to
exactly like
work, whatever he
Ty
does.
Lue. Ty
He
Lue
has good
works well
rotations
with
too.
vets. Yeah, he works well with vets, which is basically what the Clippers are between Serge Ibaka, Kawhi, and all Paul George. I think are all 30 or above. So
Yeah, they don't have any young guys
that's like their main pieces
making a
right
big
there.
difference.
So I think that's a nicely ran team. I think now with consistency, the Clippers will get there. My only
Yeah,
question
now it's
is,
even easier too now that the Nuggets are out
yeah,
without
my
Murray.
only question with the Clippers is the fact that they are a team that has injury issues. Because I mean,
Hmm.
Kawhi's never been the healthiest person. Paul George's never been the healthiest person. Serge Ibaka hasn't been the healthiest person.
No,
Rondo's
not at
older
all.
and he's not playing
Not at all.
massive minutes anymore. So, for the purpose of if we're gonna play the game of are the Clippers contenders, I think they are contenders. Are they the top contender? Probably not. I mean, I would still view the Lakers and Nets as the two main teams fully healthy.
Oh
That's
my
for
God,
sure.
this guy snatches everything.
Um, but yeah, I think the main X factor is going to be Rondo. If Rondo can come in and do what he kind of did
I think
last
Serge
year with the
Ibaka and
Lakers,
Rondo.
yeah. Serge really never lost a step. That's the crazy part. He's like one of those guys that's always been around, but he transformed himself
Hmm.
because when he first came in the league, he was kind of like a post and defense guy. Now he's like a
Yeah.
sniper. Now he's like a 3 and D type of guy. He's still a good rim protector. He's still a good locker room teammate. Like he does his things. There's nothing wrong with Serge. I think that was another
Yeah, he
underrated
is having a
signing.
little bit of a down year. He's averaging 11 points right now and five 7 boards almost a game, but that's you're also playing with Kawhi and Paul George. He's not taking as
Yeah,
many shots.
nobody's asking him to do like when he was part of Toronto last year. He wasn't. He was being way more involved in that offense because I mean
Oh yeah, exactly. They needed
Toronto
him
needed
big time
the outside threat in him to shoot more. Um,
all day. Yeah.
Another small X factor too is the fact that Kennard had struggled earlier this year, but I recently saw him back in the starting lineup. So I don't know if he was in the doghouse. I don't really. I mean, I don't follow the Clippers that much. I mean, I know basketball obviously, but
Mm.
it was
He's still
weird
a
to
good
see.
role player though.
Yeah, it was weird to see the Clippers give Kennard a big extension before the season, and then he wasn't really involved right away. I know he was hurt at first, but
Mm.
it was weird to see him just not involved because he came back and struggled, and it was to the point where he was benched, not playing any bench minutes
Well, he was
either.
also playing behind Lou Williams, and now Lou Williams is gone too.
Exactly. So I think he might be more of a
So he was
natural
like third in
fit
the
now.
depth chart.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because he
think
was
so
always a
too.
good shooter. He was a top 10. He was a lottery pick actually. I think I don't know. I forgot where he was, but I know when he went to Detroit, he was a lottery. So
No, you're right. He was around like 12 or 14, like 12 to 14, I want to say,
yeah,
maybe even around 10. Don't remember specifically, but definitely a late lottery pick.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's always so tough with the West. If to give my
It
full
is.
answer, full in-depth answer, yes, the Clippers are contenders, but at the same time, the West is very difficult. So a lot of people in the West are contenders. If we're gonna view if you're gonna view the Clippers as a contender, then you have to view the
Oh my
Trailblazers
gosh,
as a
that counted.
contender. The
Yeah.
fully healthy Nuggets. I know we just lost Jamal Murray for the season, but a fully healthy Nuggets
Yeah,
team, that's a
sadly.
contender.
He had one of the he had one of the best what's it called? Um I can't think right now.
He had one of the better statistical
Um
seasons and playoff runs last year. He was very important to the Nuggets.
yeah. He did very well in the bubble. That's what I meant to say.
What people need
Oh
to
my gosh,
realize
another
about the Nuggets
turnover.
too is that Jokic kind of was very reliant on a good guard. So I'm interested to see what the Nuggets do without Jamal Murray, because you're going to lose 20 points per game in point guard and guard presence. So I'm interested to see how that is. My only question, actually, thinking about it now, I didn't even think about this, is now that the Clippers are fully healthy. We were talking about this with the Lakers last week. Now that the Clippers are fully healthy, are they going to be able to climb? Are they going to be able to maintain their standings? But they might be a team that might have to face the Lakers in the first round, depending on the standings go. So
Yeah, that'd be insane.
the Clippers could kind of find themselves in a bad position for having a good record, which is weird. So
Imagine though if they do play the Lakers, and then they bounce the Lakers in the first round. That'd be crazy.
yeah, I think when you ask the question about if anybody's a contender, I think you have to see who they face. Because due to injuries and COVID this year, a lot of these teams are not putting out their full potential until later in the season. Now players are starting to get
Yeah,
vaccinated and
absolutely.
stuff, so you're not going to lose guys for 2 weeks maybe anymore. If these players get fully vaccinated, they don't
Hopefully.
have to. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. But just to move on from the Clippers and talk Kawhi quick, I don't think he's going to leave the Clippers. It's kind of interesting that the Warriors are interested in him because the
Yeah,
Warriors have
that's
done
the
this
rumor at
before.
least.
The Warriors have done this
He
before,
can opt
obviously.
out too, so if they do lose in the first round, I think he's gone for sure. So I think it
Yeah,
all depends.
I think it's not the most unrealistic thing because if you've seen it before, the Warriors have done this.
Miami too.
They went out and got Durant. I don't. Why would you not think that they couldn't get Kawhi? Plus, they're a California
I know.
team.
And
He
plus,
said he
let's
wants
be
to stay
honest with
close
the
to home.
Warriors
So
too. Yeah, they're pretty much all in because they're number one payroll right now.
yeah.
So they have the highest, they're paying a lot of money. So with that being said, they're gonna go all in, and why not go at Kawhi?
And that's the thing. You're going to get Clay next year. You're going to have a little bit of cap. You could move Wiggins
Yeah,
easily.
exactly.
So it's not the end of the world if they need to go out of the way to get Kawhi and make surrounding moves. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's my point. Like, if you're already spending so much, you might as well go all out. You got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, I think if he is going to go to a team, it'll probably be a team like the Warriors. But most likely, I think he'll
Or
end up with the
Miami too.
Clippers.
That'd be cool seeing him in Miami.
I think I think when players had a certain
I would
part
knock
of their
that out
career.
either.
Yeah, Miami's a pretty decent option. I just think like Miami kind of has their identity right now, and then they're trying to just re-sign their players, which is weird because if they don't win,
Well, no, it's
I don't see
been
why you would
reported
want
that
to
they
do
want
that.
to make a run at him.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll
Well,
see
plus
how it
Miami,
goes.
they always go all in too.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
They're not
Exactly.
a tank type team. Yeah,
Pat Riley is Pat
he doesn't want
Riley.
to lose. He's super competitive.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What was the next thing we wanted to do? Oh, we want to talk about the
Top 25, under 25,
That's what it
and
was.
who like two or three guys we would love to start a franchise with, like from that bunch.
So basically, I'll give my thing. I mean, I know a lot of players would probably. I mean, if you're picking a team and you had to pick from this list of all these studs, obviously you would probably want to pick a guard, a forward, and a center because I
Let's
mean,
do it like this actually. Let's go like, you tell me your first one and then I'll tell you my first one and then we'll say our second and then third and then uh discuss further from there. I think that'd be a fun way to do it though.
yeah. I mean, if I were to pick, my first player, I'd pick Zion. Of all players under the
You
top
know what?
25, due to youth as well, I know 25 is still young. I mean, he's 20
Mm,
or 19 years old, whatever it is. That's what benefits as well. The fact that I could pick anyone under 25, but the fact that Zion's doing just as good, maybe better than half these players, and he's only 20. I'm going with him because he's a franchise player, and if I'm picking a new franchise, I'm picking someone who I can market with my first pick. Granted, you can
yeah,
market probably
absolutely.
90% of these players. Obviously, whoever Josh picks too, all three of those guys, they're going to be marketable guys. I think Zion's just the most easily marketable player because he's been marketable since friggin' high school. So,
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, that would be my first
But
pick.
for my first, I think I'm gonna go with Luca because he's just like phenomenal. Like seeing what he does, it's crazy.
Yeah,
He can
and
do
he's a good
everything:
leader
pass,
too.
shoot, score. He's already taken the Mavericks to the playoffs. They had a great first round against the Clippers when they ultimately lost, but that was very exciting for all of us, especially
Yep.
when Luka hit that step back three-pointer to win that one game. Like, I'll never
Yeah.
forget that personally.
Yeah, he's just an
I
absolute
just think he's got
monster.
a really high ceiling. Yeah, he is, exactly.
Yep, I don't blame you with that one. I would say with my second pick,
Mine's
second pick,
Zion, so, and I agree with everything you said, so I'll just get mine done with.
yeah, I don't blame you there. Um, my second pick, I'm gonna go with Tatum, just because if we're gonna build around today's NBA, everything's about
He's
scoring
a
now.
very easy guy to like build around, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna get a two-way forward who guys can get you 25 a game. Um, everybody likes him too for what it
Hmm.
is. And then again, same thing. If I'm building a franchise, I got to build with marketable players. If we're not going to go out and win
Yeah.
anything, I want to make money as an owner. So I'm going to go with Tatum because another guy, two Jordan Brand athletes for one. For two,
Yeah.
both the guys are well-known
Big
names
marketability.
who are big-name
Marketability, yeah.
people since high school. So then, yeah, and then for my third guy, since Josh, you already picked Zion, I'm gonna go James Wiseman, and the reason why I say James Wiseman is because I think he's the next.
Wow, I don't think he's on anyone's top 25 under 25 list, to be honest.
Yeah,
That's a
I was gonna go Lamelo, but I was like, I already have two forwards who can really play point forward if I really wanted them. Plus, if I'm gonna have two guard heavy forwards on my team, I don't really need a point guard. So I'm like, all right, who's a good inside center that can play defense and offense? Plus, be like that guy if I need to, who's just skilled overall. Plus, I think
hmm.
with James, people don't give James Wiseman enough props. He's on a Warriors team that's not at full strength this year, and he's hurt right now as well. I
He's
think
had struggles throughout the year too.
he just tore his
Um,
meniscus. He's in a
yeah.
weird he's in a weird system. They've never really had to use a big man there. And all their big mans have either been small power forwards or guys like Festus Ezeli, Zaza
Yeah.
Pachulia, um,
Andrew Bogut.
Andrew Bogut, like guys who are defense orientated, go up and get the ball.
Damian
This is the
Jones for a minute too.
yeah, like this is the first like I don't think people realize how good James Wiseman is. Like he might not pop off on the stat sheet this
He was
year,
phenomenal in high school, I'll tell
but
you that.
he's a monster. There's no reason
And his two
to
games
not
at
pick him.
Memphis.
Plus he's a hybrid. He's a center, but
Yeah,
you can
he's got
see
a nice shooting touch too.
you see him in games. If people who watch the Warriors, he'll get a rebound. He's going up the court. He's going behind the back, in between the legs. Like he doesn't care. He'll pull up too.
Do you think he's much better than Ayton?
I think he's on a better upward projection than Aiton. Aiton's a big stiff.
Ayton's been solid though.
Oh, he's been good. He's in a good Phoenix system too. But I think
Yeah, he is.
if put it this way, if you flip flop Aiton and if you flip flop Aiton and Wiseman, both teams get better. Because
You really think
Aiton
so?
is a big
Ayton's more
stiff.
ready now.
Yeah, Aiton's a big stiff, but he works better in what Phoenix wants in their offense. I mean, not
Yeah,
Phoenix.
that's true.
What Golden State would want as a center, because
Yeah, I know what you meant.
he go up and get it, and he's a good defender, good rebounder. Where James Wiseman is a great hybrid type of guy who's very athletic and can shoot the ball, just like a guy like that would Chris Paul would make better as well. I'm not saying
Hmm.
Steph Curry makes
I agree
players
with
better,
that.
but Curry's more shoot first, where Chris Paul is pass
Yeah,
first,
he's
obviously.
a scoring point guard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's different systems, but I think that's the same thing. I think James Wiseman has insane untapped potential that I think if you put him on a team with like with Zion and Tatum, who are faster guys and can drive to the basket and dump off or pass through, I think it's a nice threesome.
Yeah, plus Ayton would never have to step outside the paint, really.
Yeah.
Maybe the occasional mid-range. He does have a nice shooting stroke, so that could develop more. But yeah, I don't hate the pick of Wiseman for you. I see the potential there. But for me, my third, this might be a little surprising too. I guess not super surprising, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, that's plus it gives you a point guard. So, oh, not a point guard
Yeah,
because you already have Luca, but
a combo
a
guard,
guard.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
a
the reason
great
I
pick.
pick him is because of his two-way ability. He's a good playmaker. There's not many guys who can like shoot 50-40 from the field in threes.
Yeah.
I think that's a very rare skill.
He's
He's super efficient.
another guy on a team that nobody's like really looking at right now. Like people know the
Yeah, exactly.
names because of who they like their names because
It's
again
because
they're
nobody cares about OKC.
yeah. And that's the sad part because guys like Shy and stuff like that will never ever get the love that they deserve. But watch, in 2 years, if the Thunder figure it out, if they learn how to draft some of these guys
I
and
missed
stuff,
that. Wow, that's crazy.
guess what? The Thunder are going to be back into that West contention again. They already have a bunch of young
Yeah.
players
Oh
that
yeah,
could easily
absolutely.
move. They could easily either A, move with their a million first round picks that they have, or they can hit on all these first picks that they have, or hit on like two
Oh,
more.
100%.
Imagine adding a guy like in 2 years from now, like Amani Bates with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. People are going to
Oh
know the
my
name
God.
even more.
That's a dynasty right there.
Yeah, that's all it takes. But yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that's two great duo like trio teams. I mean,
Mm.
realistically, let's be real. None of those teams will ever happen, but it's cool concept to think of. If I were to
No,
pick,
yeah, that was
but
pretty much our ranking of like guys that even if it was like different franchises, like if one and two's gone, like you get the point.
yeah. Well, how about this? I'll ask you this question before we move on to the last topic.
Okay.
Who of the three that you picked, who would you pick? Like, if you couldn't pick three, say you could just pick one, and you had a team of just a bunch, pretend it's 2K. You had a bunch of 75 overalls. But who's the one young
Yeah.
player that you would pick under 25 to help fix that team and start turning around?
Mm, like from my list or
It doesn't have to be from your list. I'm just saying in general.
like to fix any team around right now?
Yeah. Just say, let's take a bad team. Just like a team with, like, no future.
Oh, okay,
Who
I see what you're
who would
saying.
you
Like the
flip flop
Pistons.
one of the yeah like who would you put on the Pistons to help flip
Who
flop
would I
their team?
who would I put on the Pistons? That's a great question. Probably Luca because like just because of his ability to do everything, and I think they just need a guy who can go out and just be a superstar and dominate. Like I feel like Zion, you kind of need good shooters around him. I mean, you do with Luca too. Don't get me wrong. He thrives on good shooters.
Yeah,
But I don't.
I
Yeah,
would
probably
probably go
Luca. I'd
Zion.
go with
I'd go
Luca
Zion
or
just
Zion.
to dispute your point. I 100% agree. You definitely need to put some shooters with Zion, but at the
They
same
both
time,
need shooters though, so
Zion
that
is
kind
so
of cancels
dominant.
out.
Yeah, like Zion is so dominant that he would still go out and get you 25 and 7 a game, even
Mm,
with
let's
a
be
bad
honest.
team.
Yeah, let's be honest too when we're talking about Luca. How many of his assists come out from kickouts from driving in?
Yeah,
I'd say a good like,
good amount.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for that topic. But I hope you got again the same thing. We asked the viewers if you guys want to comment on any
Yeah,
videos
let
that
us
we
know what you
post.
guys think on that.
Yeah, any videos that we post. We want to hear your ideas as well, not just ours.
Mm.
Eh, But for the last
Yeah,
quarter,
so let us know in the comments who you would pick as your top three for that you would start a franchise with under 25 years old, or even 25 for that matter, 25 and under. We'd love to hear it. And even if it's a little more unorthodox, like someone who you wouldn't think of, just let us know. We'd love to hear it.
yeah, yeah. So for the last quarter, we want to talk about just some of the top potential. Like we have written down like the top 25 teams like way too early. But we just want to talk about like some of the teams that you guys should keep an eye on, whether you're an NBA fan or a college fan. Because I mean, if you're an NBA fan, you want some of these guys in your team potentially in the future, especially if your teams you're building. So, just to start, I mean, obviously you're going to look at Gonzaga, just because. Let's be realistic. Chet Holmgren, if you guys don't know the name, he's going to Gonzaga. He hasn't committed there yet. He's
Yeah,
going
the
to
crystal ball has him going there,
he,
100%. So
he's
with high
he's going to
confidence.
Gonzaga. Exactly. He's going there. He's a
Yeah,
monster.
he's pretty much a lock without being a lock.
Yeah. And then they got Salas going there as well.
Yep. Yeah, ranked number 6 on the 24/7 composite.
So that's another team that you got to look at. Gonzaga is not going anywhere. We talked about this. We have it in a future topic, but I think it's safe to say that Josh and I are putting Gonzaga in the new blue blood territory. They were probably already there, to be realistic with you guys, but
Yeah, every year they make the Sweet 16 at
yeah.
least.
Now the
So
past couple of years, they're becoming a consistent team. You can tell me all about the bad conference and all that stuff. I understand, but guess what?
we don't
Bad
want to
conference or
hear
not,
it.
they're still making it. They're still winning games in the NCAA tournament. Is Duke a bad team because they lose in the first round? No, because guess what? In the next couple of years, Duke probably wins another championship. So you can't
Exactly.
fault teams for losing the first round. That's what March Madness is. That's the conclusion. Um, trying to think about it. What's another team like? You know this more than me, Josh. What's another team that you're excited to see that would be in your top 25 that you would
Oh,
think
Ohio
of?
State. I think they're going to be great next year. They should return pretty much everyone.
Yep.
And
Unfortunately,
they were obviously a two seed, but they lost to uh, Oral Roberts. But Oral Roberts had a great run, and I don't want to take anything away from them. They were a great team.
yeah. I was one of the people critical of Dwayne Washington Jr., but he's coming back next year. He's a good player. Hopefully
Yeah,
he
he
can
is.
come back until, like, Earth, because I know some players take it to heart or, fans' comments and stuff, but if anybody knows, like, what happened in the tournament and stuff last year, basically he shot, like, 20% and against a 15 seed. It just didn't look good. But he's still a good player.
No, not at all.
Ohio State's got some good recruits coming in as well. And I think they got a transfer from, I think it was maybe Penn State. I think it was Penn State. They got a nice little vet piece coming in from Penn State.
Yeah, that sounds right. I can't remember his name, but they did get someone.
I think it was Jamari something. Jamari Wheeler. That's what it was. Yeah, he got like 7 or 8 points per game for Penn State. But he's a guy, I think he's a young. He might be a sophomore. So he'll be a guy that will be there for a couple years.
Oh, perfect then for them.
So that's a nice little addition. Another team I'm looking forward to see, obviously, if people haven't seen, UCLA. If Johnny Juzang
Yeah,
comes
I think
back,
that depends on Juzang, but bringing in a five-star small forward to replace him isn't too bad of a
yeah,
loss.
it's not a bad loss at all.
Consolation prize.
Not bad at all. But yeah, if Johnny Juzang comes back, I think UCLA might actually be the number one team in the country next year. I know Gonzaga, I just said the things about Gonzaga, but UCLA makes a very good piece for a number one team next year.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. After what
if
they
they
did.
return everyone, and add a 5-star, you can't not really put them in one. And if not one, they're definitely at least top 4, top 5.
And you know what's cool too? With the NCAA letting players, seniors come back for next year. The kid that they lost early there, who was their leading scorer at the time, I think, Chris Smith.
Yeah,
He only played a few games anyways, but he has the ability to
ability to
return,
come back.
and that would
Yep,
make them, yeah, that would make them really deadly.
yep. Now, this one's interesting, and Josh, I think you'll agree with me on this. Arkansas. Arkansas is going to be a very interesting team. Not
Yeah, they've been
because
killing it
of,
in the transfer portal
I
too.
was just going to say that, not really because of the recruiting. I mean, their team's still very good, but the fact that
Yeah, they only have one recruit right now who's a four-star, but he probably
they
wouldn't play much.
they added a bunch of good players to the transfer portal, which is kind of crazy. Because transfer portal, I mean, right now is just crazy in general because of the new rule allowing eligibility right away. So obviously
Yeah, nobody has to sit.
everything's kind of ablaze right now because you just have the ability. You don't have to sit a year. A lot of the decisions come into like, do I really want to waste a year of eligibility? So now you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But Arkansas went out and got Chris Likes from
Yeah, from
Miami.
Miami.
They got Stanley
Averaged 15 and a half points per game.
Amudi. He's the graduate transfer from one of the lower schools, but he averaged like 20 points per game or something. So obviously he's got scoring
Oh, right,
ability.
right, yep.
And then they got
And the kid
Audizi
from
Tony.
Pittsburgh too.
Yep,
Yeah,
the Tony kid.
he was a stud too, right?
Yep. So they got a lot to their program without having to recruit. They kind of just added into the transfer portal, which is smart. Because if you're a team that was right there this year as a 3 seed, so you're one of the top, 15 teams in the country, that's what March Madness thought of you, like the committee. So then you go out and kind of keep a lot of your same players. I mean, you get J.D. Notae back and Devontae Davis, who's a freshman. Add on top of these transfers who are all going to be very productive for your team. I think Arkansas is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. And they had
Um,
a kid who was I want to say like top 40 point guard, KK Robinson,
yeah,
who redshirted last year because of injuries.
yep,
So bringing him in if he's fully healthy, that's a very interesting team.
yep. And then the last team that I want to say quickly is Alabama's gonna be very good again.
Yeah, I was gonna mention them too.
They got a good recruit coming in. I think JD Davidson's coming in, and then
Yep, that is right.
they return everyone of their team basically.
Just Herb
Shackelford comes
Jones and
back.
John Petty
Yeah,
are they're
Shackelford
losing,
comes
which
back
are
at
big
least.
losses, but
They are, but it's being replaced with the number 9 guy. So
yeah, exactly.
it's the same thing. You take the good with the bad. You know, you lose your vet guy, but it's like, you know what? I'll take a top 10 recruit. That's just kind of
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly. And they're bringing in a good center too. Charles Bediako, I think his name is. Don't
Yes,
crucify me on the pronunciation,
the
but something
transfer.
like that.
Yep.
He's a top 30 guy. He's a center, so and that's kind of something they lacked in too last year. They didn't really have much size, so he'll make a huge impact on the boards, hopefully.
Yeah. I think the two teams that are interesting to watch for next year are Duke and Baylor. I'm only saying don't
Yeah,
quote me at this.
absolutely.
I'm not saying Duke because I'm a Duke fan. I'm not saying it because of that. I'm saying Duke because they struggled this year, and it was kind of just a mix of the bad recruits kind of came in and not really living up to the hype that they had behind them. But
Mm,
Duke, has 3 top 5-star players coming in next year, and Paolo Banchero, Trevor Keels, and AJ Griffin. On top of keeping some key pieces as well, so that's gonna be nice. And then Baylor, obviously, me and Josh know this. A lot of their top guys are gone. Masio Teague.
yeah, Butler, Mitchell, and Teague are all gone. Vital
Yep.
too.
Now, granted, they get to keep Flagler, they get to keep Meyer, they get to keep, some of their young
Yeah,
guys.
Flagler and Mayer are back.
Then they get 2 top 35 recruits
Or
coming in,
Meyer,
plus
however you say
another
his
top
name.
100. So they have 3 top 100 guys coming in. So they'll still be good. They'll still be relevant. Just not. I don't think it'll be the Baylor national championship team. They're gonna go over a
Right.
little reconstruction. So don't expect them.
Yeah.
They'll still be a top 25 team, but don't expect them to be massively fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you there. They are bringing in a good 5-star and Kendall Brown, who should be a first round pick, a one and done there. But I don't think he's going to boost them enough to take them to the championship again,
Yeah,
ultimately.
but yeah,
Now, what do you think of Villanova, though? Just before we end this, I want to get your thoughts on them
Villanova.
for a little Big East action.
I don't know. I mean, they did find a way to get Colin Gillespie back. He's one of those guys that's been in college since I was born in 1999.
2012. Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
they're gonna get 2 good recruits. They were one of the finalists for Trevor Keels too. Happy he went to Duke instead of them, so that's good. But it's weird because did we find out Jermaine Samuels is coming back, or is he going to the
I
draft?
no, I think he's
I think he's staying.
I
I
think
know the
he's
other
coming
guy's
back.
gone. Jeremiah Robinson
Yeah,
Earl. I know he
Jeremiah Robinson
declared,
Earl. Yeah, he's gone.
which is unfortunate.
But they do bring in a really good recruiting class, so
Yeah.
they should be able to replace him.
Yeah, it's weird because Villanova every year you might not look, they're like they'll be okay, but then they always find that veteran that stays around for 5 years and he's good, and then they find
Yep.
that one freshman they build up is the same thing. They always happens under Jay
Always,
Wright.
always, always, always.
They'll be a top team in the Big East. There's not too much thoughts on it. I mean, they have Jordan Longino, the forward coming in, and that Nana
Yeah,
and
Trey
Juku.
Patterson. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
just one
haven't.
quick question too, actually, for the Big East.
They get transferred?
Um,
No.
so would you say the top 2 teams in the Big East next year is probably Villanova and UConn,
Probably, yeah. UConn's got a very good
just for our
recruiting class
PC
coming in.
fans? Yeah, yeah, they do. They have another
I
good
warned
class.
PC fans, this is my last thought at the end of this video. I know this wasn't a topic, but to warn my PC fans, I'm sorry. We're going back to the basement soon. We're going back to the bottom dwellers of the Big East. UConn has come
Oh,
back and they're taking away all our New
too
England
bad. So
recruits. So
sad.
we're never going to see another New England recruit come to our team again as long as UConn offers them. I'm sorry. It could be another situation like David Duke where he comes straight from Providence. But I bet if David Duke got that offer from UConn, he would give him a second chance if they're in the Big East as well. UConn
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
is national championship caliber program. PC hasn't been a national championship caliber program in a long, long time.
Sorry,
Not back.
PC fans. Sucks to suck.
We're not going back to the Ernie D days and all that stuff. It's not gonna work. We can't have God Sham God come back and be that special prized recruit coming in that makes PC basketball fun again. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Yeah. Well, silver lining for PC fans though too. It can't get worse than DePaul, so you got that
Nope,
going for
nothing's
you.
ever worse. Hey, but at least we got Jaden Epps the
No.
other day. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
good.
true.
But I think that's the end of our first video for this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll let Josh do the outro because he loves to do it.
Yes, sir. Please comment, share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Yeah, that pretty much is that. We appreciate you guys and stay safe, everybody.